Hi everybody, it's Thursday night. I should be at class at GHP. I'm missing all of you. I am going to do a marbling demo for you all. We're going to talk a little bit about marbling. I am in my studio in Boyceville, and last night I did a few examples. So I'm going to show you what it looks like at the beginning and then the process of how to do it. So I made a few little flat discs last night, and with the slip I'm using earthenware clay that I've rolled out into a slab, and then I've poured over it white slip or fish sauce that you'll know from Greenwich Pottery, and then I've added black and rutile slip, and this one I've combed through with a needle tool, which makes a really great little design, and some I just combed. Let's look at this. This is a little bit of a simple design compared to the last one that we looked at. Also, this one I was able to make this more traditional joggling technique, where I've taken the slip, put it over the top, and by moving the slip and twisting it, which is called juggling, I'm able to get this pattern. These are small little slabs that we're using just for the ease of the demo, a little bit easier to handle, plus it makes kind of a mess, which is why we don't do it that often in the studio. You have to do a little bit of a setup, and I've made one that's quite a bit larger, and these are just the samples that I've been doing to show you what it looks like at the end. And afterwards, when the slab is really wet and just dry enough to the touch, you put it over another form that's more traditional early slipware for the plate, and it dries and you make it into it. But I'm just doing the marbling right now. So let me get set up so you can actually see the table, and we'll get started. Okay. Hi everyone. So we're back. You have to put up with my camera work. Anyway, we're looking at the slip right now, and what I've done is I've taken my slip that's usually thick enough for brushing, and I've sieved it through, I think it was a 60 gauge sieve, and I've added water. So what I've done is with the white slip, I've added water, and it's like a nice heavy cream. And then I've done that so each slip is at the same weight. I've also done that with the black. Just make sure it's mixed really well. I did this last night when I made the examples. And I just want to make sure it's mixed really well. And then I've got my rutile, and the rutile and the white slip looks very close together, so I can't emphasize enough that you want to go ahead and label everything on the side, because when you put these two together, it's very difficult to tell which one is which, so you have to label everything. Now, what I've done to keep from that happening with my slip trailers is I've got the rutile slip and a larger trailer, and just make sure this is clean, and I'm going to put the tip on it. Now, I can put a scoop in here and do it. It makes extra tools, but I get these really inexpensive funnels at probably IKEA, and I can use it as a scoop and also as a way to get it into my little bulb to make sure that it's ready. And I've got my tip, and I'm not really sure what happened before my iPad decided to stop filming. So what I've got here is I've flooded the clay with the slip, and I'm putting that over on the side. And I like to use just a little plastic tray. I'm just going to put this on the tray, and again I'm cleaning my hands. I don't want any slip all over me. Now, I'm going to start off with the black slip, and you can always test it or test it on the side. And then I'm just going to go over it and do the lines. And I'm wanting to work pretty fast because I want this slip to flow. It's all at the same consistency of moisture. It flows really nicely. Now I'm just going to add a little rutile slip, which is very faint, but it looks great when it's fired. Move this along. Whoops, a little dry spot. I'm going to act like that didn't happen. Okay, so now I'm going to start, put my fingers on here. I hope you're getting all this action. Change this way. I should probably do one of this, just me shaking, but and this is the real trick, to do it while it's still pretty fluid. And I got two little dots in here. So what do? That's it on this one. Let's do another. So I'm just going to put that to the side. I'm going to stop this one. And we'll come right back. All right, so now I'm going to flood the tile. Let me just get a little bit of this slip. And you want to work pretty fast because I want to be able to joggle this, and I want it to be pretty full of slip. And I'm getting it everywhere. Let's see. I'm going to add it onto here. Make sure you keep your hands clean. Let's put down the black slip. And by the speed of how you're drawing your line, if you want it a little bit thicker, I can slow down, or a little bit faster. I find that when I'm slower, I get kind of a wiggle, which is okay, but not really what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to add the rutile slip. I'm just going to go around between each line. And these edges where I've curved, that's just going to flow off the side. No one's going to really know that it's there. If it is, it's kind of pretty. Okay, so I've put this in a dish so it's a little bit easier to clean up, and I can still use this area, but I'm going to hang on to this. Now I'm going to joggle it. And I'm using the centrifugal force. There we go. To really give it a spin. Which is a nice little marbled edge. I can also roll it a little, but I find that shaking it back and forth, and which is kind of funny, I guess I should do this where you can see I'm really twisting and shaking to get this. Oh, I like that one. I'm going to stop. And that's really the main point of marbling, is knowing when to stop, which is one of the problems I have. I like to keep going. I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to get cleaned up, and we'll do another one, but with feathering. Okay, so we're ready to start again. I am going to marble this piece, or not marble, feather it. But I've got to flood the piece with slip first. So I'm just pouring this on. I want it to go over the edge and really just kind of coat the piece. I can give it a little shake. Now, put that to the side, bring this over so it's a little bit easier to handle, easier cleanup. Now, I'm going to start with the black again. And I can start in the middle. It's pretty easy to start on the end and get going. It doesn't really matter too much. or it doesn't matter to me, I guess is the important part. So now I want to put a little rutile in here. Let me make sure it's working well. Okay. And I'm going to just put it every so often. Right in there. Dot. Okay. Let's put just a little more black in there. I'm just doing it over that rutile a little bit slower and a little bit thicker. Oh, it likes to put that little dot in there at the same point. Must be the way that I'm squeezing it. Okay, so now I'm going to use the needle tool. I'm going to just start in the middle just for fun. So I'm going to do just a little line about the same width apart, all going in the same direction. It is decoration. This way a little bit closer. Do that one. And I could stop here, but why should I? And clean that off. I'm going to move this around and just go the opposite, right in the middle of that one. Going across. So it's kind of nice, these little odd areas that maybe the slip trailer didn't do a perfect job. There was a little air in there. I didn't do a perfect job actually of shaking it to make sure there was an air bubble. But I kind of like those little edges. So now it almost looks like wheat. We've got them going both directions. I could stop here again. Most people would, but let's do it one more time. So now I'm just going to go across those lines. Keep it nice and wide. Continuing. And across there. Let me do one right there. Okay, so now, well, let's do it one more time. So I might leave that one. Do two more. Let's leave that one. This one. And this one. I'm just going to continue all the way through. So now this is very wet. Same with the other one that I joggled. I'm not going to be able to use this for quite a while, and that's why it's preferable to do this on plaster, but you can do it on any board. It's easier to do it with a round disc like on a bat than if it's square because things roll around off pretty well. And so I'm just going to sit this and let it firm up, and then I can either use it as a bottom of something. I can put it on a form and make a plate. So what I would do with this, let me grab one of the other ones that's already been dried and show you. So this one is just in a plate that I've put it in, and I pushed it down flat, and it's taken the form. It's been sitting in here a little while. Oh, this is always good to do on video. There we go. So now it is actually the shape of the bowl that I put it in. If you have a plaster form, you can do the opposite, where you've got your piece and you would put it over the plaster form, and then while it's on the form, on the hump mold, or is that that's a hump. So if it's on the hump mold, you can finish up the edge and put your foot on this side as it's firming up, which is excellent. But these I made a good 24 hours ago, and I've been watching them. They sat out overnight. You could also do this and lightly cover it where you put tents over it of plastic and little columns of clay around so that the plastic does not touch the liquid clay, and let it firm up a little bit. So it takes a little patience to do marbling because it's so easy to mix it up, and you can really see the difference. This is from last night. It sat, I covered it up this morning with posts on the side to make sure that the next board that I sat over it did not touch, or the plastic did not touch the surface. And you can see how shiny this one is, that it's just way too wet to touch. That's going to take a few hours. So a lot of patience with this. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for a second. We'll do one really large one. Okay, so let's do one more. I've got this large slab. And I'm just going to flood it also. This one's a little bit messier because it's bigger than my bucket. And people that do this all the time, they have a big dish that they do this on, big bucket container to take all this. And I don't want it to get too thin because I still want it to flow nicely. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. And I've used a larger bat to move this around and touch it. So now I am ready to do some more with this. Just going to start with the black. It's really fun to do this, but you're trying to make it as straight as possible. I kind of like it to be a little wobbly, which is good because it is. I'm just going to go along this side. Let's do over here. Now, let's do a few rutile dabs. Let's see, let me make sure this is on the camera too. There we go. Sorry about that. It's coming along. I'm going to stop here and skip a few. And I'm not sure if it's showing up well in the film. This is the rutile. It's just slightly darker than the white slip. But when you glaze it, there'll be a slight difference. It's a nice subtle difference. I'm going to add just some little points on here. We can also do some dots, which is fun, and then a little rutile. And ideally, if I had some white slip, I could add another color, but we're just doing these dots with the black slip and the rutile slip. So that'll just ooze over. Maybe I'll do one here. Oh, let's make a couple. There's a lot of things you can do with the slip trailing to make patterns. And I've got to remember to work fast, because if I take too long setting this up with different designs, it's going to be difficult to get it to flow through. The clay is going to be absorbing the slip, moisture in the slip, and it's going to set before I'm ready. Maybe we'll put 2 dots in this one. Ooh. Another one right over here. All that good stuff's running off the side. I'm just going to hit it one more time. And okay, maybe a couple of these a black dot. My problem is knowing when to stop. Right now they look like little eyeballs, which are fun. Okay, so now, ooh, get my trusty needle tool, and I'm just going to go through these. These are fun in this direction. You really need to be crossing slip. And I could have left it alone and done it this way. This is the fun thing, just like there's so many possibilities. You can even go a little bit at an angle. Ooh. And you can hear the needle tool scraping the clay a little bit. So my flow is starting to set up a little. Just going to go a little bit on, oop, right on that line. Let's do it one more time. Maybe right here. You don't have to make it completely match. Just keep going. Just checking, make sure the camera's still going. It wants to stop every once in a while. So I've gone all the way through, but I could also just bring this around here. Just a little bit and even stop. Doesn't have to be a perfect match all the way through. Just fun. Let's do one here. Just going to start right in that one and bring it up. Right in that one and bring it up. And I can make it as busy as I want or stop, which I kind of like this middle part, these coming around. Let me turn this around one more time. Now, if I look at this, which you're not able to see from the videos, I've got a mound where there's a lot of slip. So I'm going to just run through a few more times. And then kind of get it to lay down a little. That's looking good. Okay, so that's marbling. Now the big question is what to do with this. So if I did have a form, if it was drier form, I could lay this with the marble side down once it's dry enough to make the piece. I kind of like all that shaking, what happened here. I can maybe do a little shaking on this side. I'm looking at it. Just fun and busy. I can also use this as the base part of the plate and throw some rings on it or put the two pieces together. So I think we're going to have a follow-up video. I really like this. Looks kind of psychedelic. But I could have been very meticulous. I could also use a thin fork that has 4 needles on it and goes through a little bit faster instead of one at a time. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope to see you all very soon at the studio, and take care of yourself. Bye. So I've put this on, and it sat overnight because I got busy doing something else. Now I'm definitely going to lose a little bit of my marbling right here on the edge, but what I'm mostly concerned about is making sure that it's really down. And I'm going to take off my really dirty splash pans, at least this one, and I'm going to just lift up a little bit on this edge. I don't know if you can see on the side. Let's see. And of course, where is my tool? I'm going to have to look over here on this other side. See if I can locate it. Oops, like that one. I'm going to use this one right here. Just get a little bit of separation and bring these together. So we're coming along. Really just want to compress these two. See if I can lift that up a little more. Let's see what else I can do to really make sure that this comes down on here the way I want it. I'm trying not to use too much water because I do not want to lose the marbling. Let's see, what do I have in that tool? Just like we were in class, I'm searching for the perfect tool, which seems to always be my lot in life. I think I have everything, and then I'm like, oh, I forgot, I need this. So now I'm just gonna separate this a little bit right on the bat where it's sitting, just so I can get my tool under there. And try not to do what I just did. I want to lift it up and compress the two together. It really wants to lift up, so here we go. Just want this clay that I've added and the marbled piece to really go together. So now, without adding any water, I'm dry throwing. I'm just bringing these two together. What's interesting, this is an extruded coil, but I've pinched it on. It's a rolled slab that I marbled, so it's kind of nice. It's going to be a little wonky, which I'll enjoy having. And I do have a pretty thin base, so this is quite a bit thicker than the rest, and I'm thinking that I want to pull this up as well. I do want a little bit of water, but I do not want to saturate this because I don't want to lose my marbling. And we'll fix that up either with, I'll do a little trail of a circle or trim a little, but I made these slabs pretty thin, so I don't think trimming is going to be an option. I'm probably going to have to trail something on. So I'm just compressing again, using the sponge, getting a little moist, not wet. Now I'm going to try to pull this up a little. Make sure it's still attached. I'm just wanting to pull this coil up. Add a little here. So I'm compressing. Slowly moving my hands up to make sure I don't miss any sections of clay, that my fingers are slowly bringing up that thicker clay above my fingers. And let's see. Well, let's do that one more time. Just compressing and slowly lifting. And like I said, I'm not adding water because I don't want to lose this marbled piece. So this feels like a better thickness, and it's slowly working its way in because of the shape of my finger, and it's lifting up. I'm just going to compress this rim a bit more. Make that kind of nice and round. And let's see. I may want to just cut through that. And what's funny is a lot of my tools are at the different studios, because this studio in Boyceville is, I'm more active here spring, summer, and fall, and we just were having the winter, and I don't spend that much time up here because I don't like being that cold. I guess I lived in Florida too long. So I'm just going to take this tool and cut the rim a little, and then we'll flatten it out as well. So I just want to take a little bit of this off the top. Whoop, hopefully. Which is hard to do with such a large tool. And I'm always talking about my wire knife, my cutting tool. They got at a workshop with Bill Van Gilder. All of those are in the city. So this is not working for me. I need to find a needle tool. Oh, I've got one right here. Okay. So I'm just going to go a little below that. Maybe even compress a little bit more. Almost through. I'm going to slow the wheel down just a little bit. Here we go. All right. So, no one is recycling clay for me now that I'm in the country, so I don't want this to dry out. Just going to put that under some plastic. Try to save steps wherever I can. You should do it all the time though, even if you're in a community studio. Make sure that you're thinking about how you're handling the materials, and make sure that you're using it in a way that you're not causing work for someone else. Techs work really hard making sure we have enough clay. Clay gets better the more that you use it, instead of adding a lot of water and it going through the pug mill. And the time that you save for everyone by doing a little extra on your clay, keeping it moist, re-wedging it, adding something that you've thrown and wedged it back together, the more time the techs have to mix glazes, load kilns, and keep things going smoothly. So we can all do our part. I miss being there and doing my part in a community studio and seeing all of you. So now I'm just going to stretch out this area a little bit more for the rim. And see if we can get a nice little edge right there. That's what I'm working on. It's got a little wobble to it. That's okay, because we're doing marbling. There's some wobbles in my marbling. I added a coil to make the flange. And it doesn't look so bad, and I think instead of trimming this, if I just add some slip around a line right here, it might really accentuate what's on the inside. Or accent. So now I'm compressing my rim. And it feels pretty level. This is good. I don't mind it having a little wobble to it. It's kind of based on that English slipware where it's hand built, kind of unique, one of a kind each piece, depending on how the slip and the maker decide to work together. So the uniqueness, or how there might be a wobble or a stretch, because I did join this coil together, and when it stops I can't even see it, but let me see if I can feel it. I think I'm feeling it as it's going around. So right here, this is where my joint was, but you can't tell that when it's not turning. So I'm just going to use my finger to spread this around. I'm not real happy with that little edge there, so I'm just going to roll that back, take off that excess. And I know I say it a lot, don't touch your pot unless it's moving, so, but I needed to take that little goober off. And I think that's looking great. I'll let this set up and then I'll trim a little bit on this outside edge, but let me turn this off and I will get some slip. Okay, I'm back. Got a little wobble there from touching the camera. Let's see. I am going to add some black slip. I'm going to have to go a little bit slower. I'm just going to bring it along and clean up this joint between the marbled bottom and the flange. I'm really just kind of flooding it right now in the same spot. Let's see what we've got. Oh, not bad. I'm just going to use my finger, let it go. And I'm just pushing it down a little bit. Oh, good. It's all over the place now. But if I just stay there and don't freak out, which we talk about a lot, and I don't take my finger off and go, oh no, what did I do? If you just stay here, you can slowly move that edge away. And that looks pretty good. So I've got a little wobble over here. That's fine. I've got wobbles with the marble. But I'll just take this off and let it set up. And in the end, I will be glazing this with a amber or turquoise glaze. And this looks like a little frame over the marbling. And it's just another way to do marbling on a slab. If you don't have a hump or a slump mold to put it in to make the plate, this is an alternative by adding a coil. Okay,
we'll see if we, who knows, maybe we'll see a glazed piece in a couple weeks. Hope everyone's well. Thank you.